Hello and welcome to Nationwide. I'm Ayodeji. Makinde will bring you updates from across the country covering key events, developments and issues impacting Nigerians. So, let's get started with our top stories. We'll begin from the State House where President Bola Tinubu has sworn in Professor Christopher Dakas as the new chairman for the Nigerian Law Reform Commission. President Bola Tinubu led the short ceremony before the commencement of the Federal Executive Council FEC. This Wednesday, the president also swore in Uchenna Eugene as a commissioner in the same commission. The new chairman, Professor Dakas, promises to launch an immediate process to update some outdated laws in the country.
We will work with the National Assembly at this initial stage in the context of the ongoing constitutional review exercise. And we will also be deliberate about identifying and proposing for reform some of the very obsolete laws that we have. It will interest you to know that quite a number of our laws date back to colonial era, and very many of them are still on the statute books. Many of them are not fit for purpose, and I'm confident that working with the National Assembly and the executive, we will advance the law reform agenda in this country in a manner that inspires confidence in Nigerians and other stakeholders.
State House correspondent Musbao Danwahab reports that the council members also observed a minute's silence in honor of a two-time member, Audu Ogbe, who passed away last week.
May his soul rest in perfect peace.
Late Audu Ogbe, who was Minister of Communication under Shehu Shagari administration, also served as Agric Minister under the first term of late Muhammadu Buhari's civilian rule. The federal government is providing a strategic platform for inclusive dialogue in the development of the steel industry in Nigeria. Vice President Kashim Shettima gave the assurance at the 2025 National Steel Summit in Abuja. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
To deepen impact, we are establishing an industrial park within the Ajaokuta area. It will host a free trade zone. It will include a gas park. It will house a military industrial complex. All of this will draw from the infrastructure already in place. They will position Ajaokuta as the industrial heart of our nation.
Rebuilding and consolidating Nigeria's steel industry, collaborative action for sustainable growth and global competitiveness is the theme of this summit, aimed at generating ideas and views to determine the strategic options available to Nigeria in achieving the major goals of ensuring self-sufficiency in steel production.
A technical and financial audit of Ajaokuta, approved by the Bureau of Public Procurement, is currently ongoing. It will inform our next steps and shape investor selection. Our journey is not limited to old dreams. We are building new pillars. We have launched the construction of 5 mini LNG plants in Ajaokuta. These are valued at over $500 million. The project is in partnership with NNPC Limited and private sector stakeholders. We are also concluding an arrangement with the Ministry of Defense and the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria, DIC, that will enable us to commence the production of military hardware at the Ajaokuta Engineering Workshop.
Meeting with stakeholders is essential in evaluating the state of the steel industry, exploring investment opportunities, identifying policy and infrastructure gaps, and adoption of a roadmap for the revival and sustainable development of the industry.
Policy alignment. As the regulator of the steel industry, we have also reviewed the 2008 Metals Policy Document and our sectorial roadmap, a 10-year sectorial roadmap, to ensure a sustainable growth of the sector with a target production of 10 million metric tons of crude steel per annum.
We are committed to deep, sustained reforms to make Nigeria a competitive destination for steel investment, including promoting value addition through processing and manufacturing, streamlining approvals to attract and retain investors.
These reforms are not just about mining. They are geared towards laying the industrial foundation for a fully integrated Nigerian steel industry. Government alone cannot rebuild this sector. We call on all investors and operators to take advantage of Nigeria's huge market size and resources, as well as the academia to innovate around the steel production technology.
And the hope here is to align the policies in the industry with the national vision, public-private collaboration to chart a clear direction and a roadmap for sustainable development of the industry. In Abuja, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, says the federal government is committed to meeting its obligation of growing the economy with a target of attaining a 7% GDP growth annually. This is as the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation has introduced a new operational process for the implementation of the 2024 and 2025 capital budgets. Benny Adams reports that this was at a stakeholders' engagement which held in Abuja.
Gathered here are permanent secretaries, accounting officers and directors of finance in ministries, departments and agencies of government. The conversation is about the implementation of the capital component of the 2025 budget. 23.9 trillion naira is involved, which is out of the 54.9 trillion 2025 budget.
Capital budget for 2025 is about 23 trillion. And 2024 transfer is about 10.5 trillion.
To strengthen the implementation of the extended 2024 and 2025 capital budget, the government has announced a new operational process.
Henceforth, warrants AIs will be issued to FDA bound to legal commitments to serve as evidence of funds available for the award of contracts or processing of payments for ongoing and completed projects.
The Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, believes in the growth trajectory of the economy and is hopeful that a 7% annual growth is possible with effective and efficient spending.
The economy is growing at about 3.5%, which is above population growth, but that's not the target. The target is to at least double population growth, get to about 7% per annum consistently with rapid, sustained, inclusive growth, then millions of Nigerians will be lifted out of poverty.
According to the new guidelines, commencing from third quarter of 2025, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation will prepare a quarterly cash plan for cash management, while the Minister of Finance approves warrants for contracts. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Elsewhere, Nigeria has launched its methane mitigation and reduction project, which aims at tackling methane emissions and improve operational efficiency in the country's oil and gas sector. The project, funded by the Canadian government, was unveiled in Abuja by the Minister of Environment and the African Policy Research Institute. Correspondent Charles Alpha reports.
Methane emissions from the oil and gas sector present a critical environmental and economic challenge for Nigeria as the second largest source of methane in sub-Saharan Africa, as it faces increasing pressure to meet its climate commitments under the Paris Agreement. Methane is reported to be responsible for about half the current global warming, that is 0.5 degrees Celsius of today's temperature rise, 80% more potent than carbon dioxide by over 20 years. But at this clearing the air, advancing methane mitigation and reduction in Nigeria's oil and gas sector, actors believe reducing this short-lived pollutant can cut global warming by 0.3 degrees Celsius by the 2040s, while delayed action means locking in decades of avoidable warming.
With today's launch, the project formally closes out with a policy brief to be released shortly. But that's not our last work on methane in Nigeria.
Today's event underscores the importance of data-driven policy making and the need for robust implementation strategies.
As we convene today to address the methane mitigation and reduction in Nigeria oil and gas sector, our focus transcends technicalities, protecting environment, fulfilling international obligations.
Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Let's move on to a bit of accountability, where the House of Representatives Joint Committee on Certificate Racketeering has embarked on oversight to some agencies as a step of addressing the issues surrounding certificate racketeering among Nigerian students. National Assembly correspondent Muhammad Rabiu Ali tells us more.
Cases of certificate racketeering by Nigerian students, allegedly with the connivance of some government officials, prompted the investigation by the House Committee. The Ministry of Interior was a first port of call to assess passport and data records of students studying overseas.
Is to rub minds and identify areas that require legislative intervention and the best way to curb the proliferation of this menace.
The committee also visited the Nigerian Council of Food Science and Technology, the National Center for Technology Management, and the Nigerian Institute of Science Laboratory Technology, all on the same mission. The Joint Committee stated that they are not out for witch hunt, but tackling a national problem. The oversight visits continue with other MDAs. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, says many public officers are now perfecting the antics of anticipatory declaration of assets to justify their intended stealing of public funds and other acts of corruption. The chairman stated this at the launch of a virtual tool on the Code of Conduct for Public Officers organized by the Code of Conduct Bureau, CCB, in collaboration with the Technical Unit on Good Governance and Anti-Corruption Reforms, TUGA. To prove this notion, the chairman cites how investigation reveals properties valued at over 3 billion naira declared in a CCB form carried an address different from the address of the location of the property, but further interrogation indicates that the person declared the property when the property was not in existence. The chairman of the Code of Conduct Bureau, Abdullahi Usman Bello, explains that the virtual tool will promote transparency, make public officers to be accountable, and carry out their duties in high esteem. In another development, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has granted administrative bail to the former Sokoto State Governor, Aminu Tambuwal, a day after detaining him over alleged fraudulent cash withdrawals totaling 189 billion naira. Tambuwal, a senator representing Sokoto South in the Senate, was freed after meeting his bail conditions. He had honored an EFCC invitation on Monday, arriving at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja at about 11:30 in the morning, where he was interrogated and detained overnight. Tambuwal is being investigated for alleged several withdrawals during his tenure as governor of Sokoto State, which actually allegedly violated the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act of 2022. From Abuja, let's go to Kano State, where community safety has become a pressing topic. Reports of phone snatching, street disputes, and other crimes have prompted experts to examine the role of substance abuse. In response, elders under the auspices of the Arewa Consultative Forum, Kano chapter, have convened to discuss practical measures aimed at reducing crime and strengthening community resilience. Fatima Sanusi Karaye reports.
As daily life in Kano continues, the rising cases of phone snatching and neighborhood disputes are testing the city's sense of security. What was once seen as petty theft has turned aggressive, with victims sometimes injured or even killed.
She actually said, "Where is your phone? Where is your phone?" So before I even attempt to do anything or to bring even the phone or even to understand or grasp what is happening, then I realized that he has already even caught my hand.
And in some communities, small disagreements now escalate into communal clashes, disrupting harmony. Experts link much of this unrest to substance abuse that erodes social order.
This society is used to be known to be very productive, very peaceful, and very forward-looking. But unfortunately, circumstances and the experiences have combined to work against a lot of situations.
We now cooperate to address the issues that are worrisome to the state, including drug addiction, child trafficking, banditry, and phone snatching.
And this is exactly what even the Kano people, the ordinary people, have been clamoring for. We need to come together to unite ourselves and operate as a family.
For Kano, this is more than a discussion on crime. It is about safeguarding the city's future, and for the elders, it's a commitment to act swiftly and decisively. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Arai, NTA News.
Well, thanks for that report, Fatima. Now, you are in Kano as we join you now to give us an update on the community efforts being put in place to address this challenge.
Thuggery, phone snatching, and other petty thieves in Kano are eroding peace and security. And that is why stakeholders, the Arewa Consultative Forum, respected elders came together and convened to find solutions beyond arrest, to find solutions that will stop this kind of trade in the city. And though the police force are doing so much, they said that society need to do much. That is why they convene together so that they will come with a solution to curtail this problem. According to experts, they associated drug use to these crimes. So what is happening is that we in Kano, we have the level of drug abuse is rising, and the ages of those using drug is going down. I mean, you can find a boy or a girl of 13 years taking drugs, which is really disturbing. So these elders came together so that they will find a lasting solution to have rehabilitation centers and what have you, so that they will curtail this menace from its roots.
Well, that's interesting to know, Fatima in Kano, for that update. And now, of course, the wisdom of the elders will always go a long way in shaping the society and changing the direction of the youth into more productive means other than substance abuse. Thanks for your contribution, Fatima in Kano. Let's also tell you that the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, after consultation with critical stakeholders, resolved to withdraw charges against Comfort Emanson, as well as lifting the no-flight ban on music icon Wasiu Ayinde Marshall, popularly known as Kwamwan. In a statement through a special assistant on media, Tunde Moshood, the minister says arrangements are on to release Comfort Emanson from Kirikiri Correctional Facility within this week. NCAA is expected to reduce Kwamwan's flight ban to 1 month, and FAN will collaborate with him as a public ambassador for proper airport security protocol awareness. The minister further stated that Value Jet pilots Captain Oluranti Ogoyi and First Officer Ivan Oloba will have their licenses restored after serving a 1-month suspension and undergoing mandatory professional reappraisal. Additionally, airline operators will also hold dedicated sessions focusing on their staff conduct towards the traveling public. Minister Keyamo also directed a sector-wide security retreat to focus on retraining security personnel on managing disruptive passengers, techniques for de-escalating potentially explosive situations, and improving staff-passenger relations as well as professional conduct. The minister emphasized that these resolutions were taken purely on compassionate grounds and do not signal tolerance for breaches of aviation's safety or security regulations. Time now to go over to our Lagos Network Center, and Awal has the next set of reports.
Thank you, Ayo, and welcome to Lagos. The federal government is working towards creating a platform where every Nigerian child, regardless of background, will have the opportunity to acquire meaningful skills that can lift them out of poverty, drive innovation, and contribute to national development. This was re-echoed by the Minister of Education at a one-day sensitization workshop for stakeholders on the National Policy on Skills Development in Lagos. Diana Ajale reports.
Current statistics by Gamma reveal that 70% of Nigerian youths lack access to quality technical education, while industry's report also shows a 40% skills gap in critical sectors like manufacturing, telecommunications, and renewable energy. Changing this narrative from the grassroots is the focus of this meeting.
The future of Nigeria depends on the skills we build today. And we have commenced the construction in February 2025.
We can work together to build a skilled workforce that will drive economic growth and create a more prosperous future for all Nigerians.
The government is very serious about skills. We're hosting this meeting together with the ministry to ensure that every state across the country has their action plan developed.
In his message to the gathering, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, pointed out that the policy, which is designed to accommodate learners from formal and non-formal education, aims to address the urgent need for a paradigm shift and move beyond traditional learning to embrace a more holistic and pragmatic approach that would create visible empowerment opportunities for Nigerians as well as reduce the number of out-of-school children.
Is to ensure that our young ones, right from the basic level up to the post-basic level, they have the right set of skills for them to be able to thrive in the world of work.
Curriculum reform, teacher and instructor training, as well as strengthening technical and vocational education in Nigeria formed part of discussions at the meeting. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA.
The Nigerian Union of Pensioners in Lagos is demanding immediate implementation of pension entitlements of its members from the federal government to serve as safety net for them. The union registered the grievances in a peaceful protest. Ime Udori's report is here presented.
Few days after the announcement of approval of a series of far-reaching measures by President Bola Tinubu aimed at enhancing the welfare of pensioners under the Defined Benefit Scheme, DBS, these elderly men and women are on the street to protest the plight of Nigerian pensioners. 72-year-old Victoria Ibe, who can barely walk, joined her colleagues to appeal to the federal government to speed up the implementation process and pay up all allowances owed them.
I'm dying of hunger. My in-law that used to take me dry since June, he has not been buried. No money for me to eat. And they say I'm collecting pension. Where is the money?
If they follow up everything that they lay down for pensioners, it will be better.
National Chairman, Coalition of Pensioners, Comrade Mukaila Ogumbote says the union is demanding implementation of the federal government's approved 32,000 naira pension increment for the month of August and other pending incentives.
That money
is very, very crucial to us. Implementation of 32,000 increment, 25,000 palliative, the turn-hour deduction of amortized pension.
It would be recalled that the federal government had earlier directed the immediate rollout of free healthcare access initiative for low-income retirees under the Contributory Pension Scheme, CPS, a critical component of social protection for retirees.
And those are the reports from Lagos. Nationwide continues in Jos after the break. Don't go away.
On to Nationwide, welcome to our Jos studio. And we begin with the environment where, in a proactive measure to combating the expected flooding in this year's rainy season, the Bauchi state government embarked on a statewide desilting exercise. The flood mitigation strategy is expected to be beneficial for both humans and the environment. Awul Abdullahi reports.
This comprehensive desilting initiative to mitigating the flood risk is a mass campaign that cut across the 20 local government areas of Bauchi State. As a response to the recent alerts by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, the flood control strategy will help in preservation of ecosystems, prevent damage of natural habitat, as providing food security and safeguarding lives.
At this material time that we are receiving prediction from NAMED, His Excellency emphasized that we need to go for desilting to avoid the flooding that we are expecting.
The desilting campaign is expected to reduce not only the flooding threat, but also promoting environmental protection. In Bauchi, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, in an effort to combat climate change and promote environmental sustainability, Jos University Teaching Hospital has planted trees donated to management by the Federal College of Forestry, Jos. Priscilla Grumnan has the details.
The tree planting initiative is a joint effort of Jos University Teaching Hospital and the Federal College of Forestry, Jos, to promote environmental sustainability and combat the effects of climate change. Chief Medical Director of JUTH, Dr. Pokopupwata, appreciates management of the Federal College of Forestry for its generous donation and collaboration in providing tree seedlings for the project. The exercise will not only enhance the aesthetics of the hospital environment, but also contribute meaningfully to efforts in tackling climate change, creating a more serene atmosphere for both patients and staff.
It makes the place beautiful, and not those that it gives shades, to our patients that come to Jos University Hospital. But, it also serves as wind shields or windbreakers in some of the buildings around.
Federal College of Forestry highlights the ecological and social values of trees to include climate regulation, biodiversity support, and academic research.
Our mandate as a ministry to promote tree planting, to promote agroforestry. So for us, we want to see how we can contribute the little we can to reforest this vast expanse of land that JUTH has.
The tree planting initiative aligns with growing global and local calls for grassroots action on climate change. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Jos. Ayodeji still standing by in our Abuja studio.
Thanks so much for your contribution. From Jos, we'll go over to Kaduna, where articulated vehicles providing freight services from Lagos to Kano and other parts of Northwest are stuck in a gridlock, with motorists spending more than 7 days in the holdup. Suraj Abdullahi is by that corridor and is going to tell us. I just told us actually that some workers have had to sleep in their offices because of the motorcade that prevented access to some areas, while fear is heightened over the condition of the only bridge which Chikon local government and Kaduna South that bring us up to speed.
Right now at the, Nnamdi Azikiwe bypass, popularly known as Western Bypass here in Kaduna. As you can see me, behind me is heavy trucks, articulated vehicles. It's a kind of heavy gridlock that has been here for some days now. One thing to note is that this particular road is a kind of link between the northern part of the country and the southern part of the country. No one passes to to the states of Kano, Katsina, Sokoto, and Zamfara without passing through this particular road. But for some days now, almost a week, that this road has been witnessing serious, severe gridlock, a situation that caused a lot of economic setback to the motorists, not only the motorists, but also the traders and residents of this area. This actually may not be unconnected to the ongoing reconstruction and rehabilitation of this particular, highway. If you can see, it's a dual carriage, of course, and this dual carriage, one of the lane by my right, you can see it's very smooth and motorists are, applying the road freely. But the other end, which is the left side of where I'm standing, is very rough because the construction has not reached to this level. So what the residents are saying is that the construction work is taking a snail pace. That is the reason why this gridlock is persistent here on daily basis. Because earlier on, I spoke to some of the drivers. Some of them told me that they have spent more than 3 days. Some said 7 days here on this particular, gridlock. It depends on where you are on the queue.
Well, Suraja, we can only thank you for that update and efforts being made to clear the bypass for ease of transportation by constituted authorities, relevant authorities regarding the traffic system, road traffic system out there in Kaduna State. Thanks so much for your time again. From Kaduna, we return to Abuja, where the MacArthur Foundation has donated 10 units of laptop computers to the News Directorate of the Nigerian Television Authority. This is expected to enhance its routine operations. Vice-Chancellor, Federal University Kashere, Professor Umar Patti, says the gesture is a fallout of a collaboration with Bayero University in Kano. Yusuf Jika reports.
Nigerian Television Authority is sustainably growing and fast catching up with evolving technology, and this feat is attracting academic doyens across Nigeria tertiary institutions to add value to the operations of the largest TV network in Africa, the NTA. 10 laptop computers are the latest donations from these visitors, and the Director General of the NTA, Saliu Abdulhamid Dembos, said the facilities are critical in driving digital reforms in a broadcast ecosystem.
For people like me that also grew through the NTA system, there's nothing we can do to sufficiently compensate for all the goodness that NTA gave us. But in our own small ways, and wherever we are able to get some opportunity, we always try to remember NTA. Not only that, NTA is still assisting us in terms of giving our students opportunities to come for internship at the state level and at the federal level.
It's going to help in a very big way to enhance the job of our reporters and, of course, our editors in the news directorate. And I want to assure you that we will make good use of the equipment.
Earlier, the Director General, represented by the Executive Director of Special Duties, received an award from the Green Economy Alternative Nigeria, where the two organizations pledged commitment to safe and productive environments.
The idea is about nutrition food crop and the domestication of it in the country.
We've been chosen as an ambassador for, nutrition crops. I think this is one way to go, and there's no better time to amplify my voice to ensure that initiatives like this are being promoted.
In Abuja, Yusuf Jika, NTN News.
And from Abuja, we cross over to Maiduguri Network Center, where Abubakar will tell us the latest from that side.
Ayodeji, you can say that again, and good to see you. The need to adopt practical approach for overall economic renewal as well as ensure effective and efficient environmental reforms has dominated discussion towards taking Borno and Nigeria as a whole to where they ought to be. This was during the first public lecture of the Faculty of Management Sciences, University of Maiduguri. The report.
With the theme, Leadership, Institutions and Opportunities, the Role of Management Sciences in Civic and Economic Renewal, the first public lecture was initiated for participants and Nigerians generally to embrace practicalization of issues of present-day reality rather than relying on the theoretical aspect for accelerated development. Speaking both physically and virtually, resource persons, including initiators of the program, underscored the role of Faculty of Management Sciences and other faculties generally in driving the process.
Your esteemed presence at this event clearly underscores the importance you attach to academic culture and values.
Every participant must have taken home the point that with good leadership, with strong institutions, there are numerous opportunities we can exploit and make a living out of it.
The missing link or the gap is the link between practice and theory. So this is what this lecture was about, how to bridge the gap between theory and practice.
There was question and answer session towards having a clearer understanding of how best to adopt practical policies in offering solutions to day-to-day challenges. The first public lecture of the Faculty of Management Sciences, University of Maiduguri, can be said to be a pathway to progress in terms of transiting from theoretical to practical approach to situations at hand.
Away from that now, to tell you that management and staff of NTA Maiduguri have held their first general meeting with the newly appointed zonal director, Mohammed Adam Dirbita, to chart the way forward for the station. Here is Pauline Kujevana with the rest of the story.
At the meeting, the Assistant Director of Finance, Sanusi Umar, congratulated the new zonal director and pledged the team's full cooperation to drive the station's growth and success. The zonal director, Mohammed Adam Indribita, has launched his vision and strategic plans to build on NTA Maiduguri's achievements, promising a culture of innovation, excellence, and teamwork.
For me, as I'm a seasoned engineer with the organizations, I know all those things that this place is lacking. I will start by improving content productions and the signal coverage. And then during my decisions, I make sure that the staffs that are working with me are well motivated, trained, and provide them with the enabling environment that they will work without any hitch.
We are ready to cooperate to make this station great, and greater.
Representatives of the Radio, Television, Theatre and Art Workers Union, Ratau, and the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ Maiduguri Chapel, also congratulated him, assuring their support and offering prayers for God's guidance as he takes on his new role. With their new leadership, staff expressed optimism for a new era at NTA Maiduguri. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujevana, NTA News.
This is Nationwide on the Nigerian Television Authority. There will be more reports from our Ibadan Network Center, but that will be right after this break.
To Ibadan. Few days to the conduct of by-election into the vacant seat of Ibadan North Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives come Saturday, August 16th. Oyeyinka Omole examines the level of preparation by major players in the much-awaited election.
With 19 political parties in the state expressing interest to participate in the by-election in Ibadan North Federal Constituency, INEC in Oyo State intimated representatives of the political parties at the stakeholders meeting with what is required of them ahead of the August 16th exercise.
We admonish every party to always play the game according to the rules. It's just an election, a one local government federal election.
Resident Electoral Commissioner Oyo State, Dr. Ramontela, while pledging the readiness of the commission, disclosed that the by-election will take place in 152 polling units in 12 registration area centers and wards, with 272,196 registered voters and 217,980 voter cards collected.
The Commission is required to conduct by-election to fill the vacant legislative seats within 90 days from the date the vacancy occurs. This could not take place then as a result of logistics and financial challenges.
It will be recalled that the by-election became necessary due to the death of Olaide Akinremi on the 10th of July 2024 in Ibadan. Oyeyinka Omole, NTA News.
Prices of major staple foodstuffs such as yam, beans, garri and cooking ingredients, including all types of pepper and onions in Ilorin metropolis, have reduced drastically, but there are slight increase in the cost of rice and vegetable oil. Despite the decrease in cost and availability of these foodstuffs, food vendors are still selling at exorbitant rates. Mutiat Olushola takes a look at the market situation in Ilorin metropolis.
Rainy season in Nigeria signifies lots of blessings, including food surplus, which in turn aids a reduction in the cost of food items in the market. In Ilorin, Kwara State capital, residents are beginning to feel the impact of the many blessings of rainfall, as mostly consumed foodstuffs are becoming more available and cheaper by the day, with slight increase in the prices of few foodstuffs such as rice. A mudu of beans, which once sold for 3,200 naira, is now 1,500 naira. One mudu of garri, which was sold for between 900 and 1,000 naira, is now between 400 and 500 naira. The cost of rice, mostly consumed by Nigerians, is slightly on the increase, just as the cost of vegetable oil.
The 3 tubers of yam, the one they are selling 3,250 2 weeks ago, is now 2,150. Vegetables and groceries like tomato, pepper, I think the prices are quite better.
All the stuff and that we are using to cook in the house, everything has becoming normal.
On the contrary, quantity and quality of foodstuffs sold by food vendors are not commensurate with market situation. Nigerians residents in Ilorin are therefore appealing to food vendors and marketers to have the fear of God by reflecting the blessings of the rainy season in the quality and quantity of what they sell. Mutiatu Lishala, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Ayodeji, it's back to you.
Thanks so much, Kemi. And from Ibadan, let's check out what's happening in Jigawa State, where Governor Umar Namadi charges young people across the state to abstain from drug abuse, thuggery and other social vices, warning that such acts undermines education, the economy and societal progress. Speaking at the International Youth Day celebration in Dusai, Governor Namadi praises the role of youth in promoting democratic governance and driving development across various sectors. Muhammad Musa Askira reports.
He noted that empowering young people is key to building a stronger society, highlighting several youth-focused policies of his administration, especially in job creation. Governor Namadi was also honored by political groups, including the Amodi Forum, for what they described as his visionary leadership.
Some forms of negative tendencies and influences, particularly social violence, in anyone, which could distract and prevent them from achieving their goals or productive members of their society.
I call on all stakeholders, government, private sector, civil society, and communities to continue working hand in hand to nurture the dreams of our youth and give them the confidence to share their future ambition.
in agriculture of the Ghana state and beyond agriculture all over the world, particularly the economic ambition to amplify the Ghana state in terms of food security in Nigeria is well known.
In a related event, the governor flagged off the distribution of 287 motorcycles to councillors across the 27 local government areas to boost mobility and efficiency in discharging their constitutional duties at the ward level. The governor reaffirmed his administration's commitments to fostering youth development and enhancing grassroots governance in Jigawa. Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
The African Democratic Congress, ADC, says it is poised to ensure inclusion of young Nigerians in its activities, programs and policies in order to mentor young leaders for future generations. The party's interim national chairman, Senator David Mark, and national youth leader Balarabe Rufai said this at an event to mark this year's International Youth Day. Represented by coalition leader Salihu Lukman, Senator David Mark reiterates ADC's commitments to true democracy, rejecting imposition, favoritism, and unaccountable policies.
To our young people, ADC is your home. We are opening the doors for the next generation, not as a gesture, but as a commitment. Our policies, candidate selections, and leadership roles will ensure real inclusion.
The ADC is ready to give young Nigerians a seat at the table, not as decoration, but as decision makers.
It's a policy decision at the national level which will translate to the states and the local governments that 50% of all leadership positions in the party will be occupied by youths and women.
The African Democratic Congress says it is ready to give every young Nigerian a seat at the table of decision-making. With the theme, Local Youth Action for SDGs and Beyond, the theme underscores the critical role young people play in turning global goals into impactful community-based initiatives. Perfect time to check out what's happening in the world of sports.
36 years ago, Nigeria and the entire world lost a promising young talented footballer, Sam Okwaraji, who died on the field of play during the 1990 World Cup qualifier between the Super Eagles and Angola at the National Stadium, Surulere, Lagos. To keep his legacy alive, Sam Okwaraji Foundation has instituted an annual under-16 All-Secondary School Football Championship, which kicks off in November 2025.
I believe that education and sports can be powerful tools for nation building, and we hope to inspire young people to emulate Okwaraji's example. While some may not benefit from this initiative, thousands of young Nigerians will have the opportunity to showcase their football talents and bring glory to our nation.
Nigeria's quest for African Nations Cup Championship trophy suffered yet another setback. This follows the Super Eagles team B defeat to their Sudanese counterparts at the 2024 CHAN Championship, being co-hosted by Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. The home-based Eagles had lost their opening game against Senegal 1-0, and their second defeat to Sudan on Tuesday means that their last match against Congo is now mere academic exercise. Their performance so far has raised more questions than answers.
Things like this are bound to happen sometimes, and whenever things like this happen, it's now left for the coaches, to go back to their drawing board and try to fix, the problem that led to that great loss.
And finally, all is now set for the UEFA Super Cup final between PSG and Tottenham Hotspur. UEFA League champions PSG will be hoping to bounce back from FIFA Club World Cup defeat to Chelsea as they go all-out challenge for another trophy to their cabinet. On the other hand, Europa League champions Tottenham Hotspur are hoping to win their second silverware in the space of 3 months as they clash with PSG tonight in Italy. With sports updates, Ijoma Pitawante, NTA News.
And before we round off, let's just give you this piece of breaking news. Within the last 1 hour, Nigeria's D-Tigress commenced their 2025 FIBA Afro Basket on a winning note, defeating Madagascar 77 to 59 points in a match that ended in Angola not too long ago. Caleb Agada, a guard, led the scoring for Nigeria's D-Tigress with 22 points. Remember, Nigeria is actually gunning for a second continental title in the FIBA Afro-Baskets. And that's nationwide. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. On behalf of the entire production crew, enjoy the rest of our broadcast. Bye-bye.